If you want to come closer. Yeah. All right. So how are you feeling right now?
I feel sick in the stomach.
Okay, so let's just go with that. Take a deep breath. Even though I feel really sick in the stomach.
Even though I feel really sick in the stomach.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And my body.
And my body.
It's just trying to protect me in some way.
It's just trying to protect me in some way.
I'm letting my body know I'm safe.
I'm letting my body know I'm safe.
And I even trust Jenny.
And I even trust Jenny.
To allow me to be safe.
To allow me to be safe.
I've got this feeling in my stomach.
I've got this feeling in my stomach.
And I choose to process it and let it go.
And I choose to process it and let it go.
This feeling in my stomach.
This feeling in my stomach.
I'm really freaked out.
I'm really freaked out.
Letting go this feeling in my stomach.
Letting go this feeling in my stomach.
Under the eye, this feeling in my stomach.
This feeling in my stomach.
I release and process this feeling in my stomach.
I release and process this feeling in my stomach.
I'm safe to let it go.
I'm safe to let it go.
I want to process it.
I want to process it.
Releasing this feeling in my stomach.
Releasing this feeling in my stomach.
Releasing this freaked out feeling in my stomach.
Releasing this freaked out feeling in my stomach.
Letting it go.
Letting it go.
It doesn't belong trapped there.
It doesn't belong trapped there.
Releasing this feeling in my stomach.
Releasing this feeling in my stomach.
My body's just trying to protect me.
My body's just trying to protect me.
But I choose to release it and let it go.
I choose to release it and let it go.
All this emotion trapped in my stomach.
All this emotion trapped in my stomach.
Releasing it and letting it go.
Releasing it and letting it go.
I'm safe right here, right now.
I'm safe right here, right now.
Sitting amongst everybody's beautiful heart energy.
Sitting amongst everybody's beautiful heart energy.
And feeling their healing and their love.
And feeling their healing and their love.
Releasing this feeling in my stomach.
Releasing this feeling in my stomach.
So take a deep breath. Oh, we didn't get your water over here. Have you got water somewhere?
In my water bottle.
Yeah, great, thanks. That's a decent sized water bottle.
It is.
So, as you're drinking, how are you feeling when you're thinking about just that freaked out feeling in your stomach?
Like emotions coming up, like I feel like crying.
Yeah.
But the freaked out feeling's less, and but it's still pretty strong.
Yeah. So look up. Why don't you look up the ceiling and tune into that feeling in your stomach and just tap, releasing this freaked out feeling in my stomach and all the emotions coming up with it.
Releasing this freaked out feeling in my stomach and all the emotions coming up with it.
I'm safe here.
I'm safe here.
And I want to process it all.
And I want to process it all.
All the emotions that are relating to it.
All the emotions that are relating to it.
Okay, so just take a deep breath. So I didn't do a full round. The thing was that she was looking down and into feeling. So I just wanted her to look up and get more present to here right now. Instead of, because what you're doing is accessing the whole lot of everything that we wanted to go. You're associating with all of it. So we don't want you to go there yet. So that's one way, is if somebody's really associating and going right down into feeling and getting into that place where we want to go gently, then you get them to look up or look around or, become back present into the moment. Because right now we haven't gone anywhere. So you don't need to jump into it right away, okay? Does everyone get that? All right. So how's your stomach feeling now when we're not going into it now and we're going to gently go into it?
Feeling less scared, but my whole body's still shaking.
Okay, so it's changed. And did you notice too that when you were talking about your stomach, I spent a lot more time here because that's the end point for the stomach meridian. So because we were working on the stomach stuff, I spent more time there. Even though my body's shaking.
Even though my body's shaking.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And all my body's responses.
And all my body's responses.
It's just trying to protect me in some way.
It's just trying to protect me in some way.
And I let my body know I'm safe.
And I let my body know I'm safe.
And I choose to release this fear and shaking.
And I choose to release this fear and shaking.
Out of my body.
Out of my body.
I am safe.
I am safe.
I choose to release this fear and shaking.
I choose to release this fear and shaking.
Out of my body.
Out of my body.
I'm safe right now.
I'm safe right now.
I'm just sitting in a chair.
I'm just sitting in a chair.
But I am being videoed.
But I am being videoed.
So I have some anxiety.
So I have some anxiety.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
I can let that go too.
I can let that go too.
Letting go that fear and shaking.
Letting go that fear and shaking.
I choose to release it.
I choose to release it.
I'm safe right here, right now.
I'm safe right here, right now.
And I choose to feel that safety.
And I choose to feel that safety.
Okay, so take a deep breath. So how does that feel now?
It's I'm feeling a lot calmer. Just a tiny bit of shaking still.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you think of that tiny bit of shaking, is that, out of 10, what's that?
It's probably a 5 because I started at a 10.
Okay. All right. So even though I've got a remaining 5.
So even though I've got a remaining 5.
Fear and anxiety.
Fear and anxiety.
And I feel it shaking in my hands.
I feel it shaking in my hands.
I choose to let that go too.
I choose to let that go too.
I want to process it and release it.
I want to process it and release it.
And I accept myself.
And I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Even though I've still got some remaining shaking.
Even though I've still got some remaining shaking.
In my fingers.
In my fingers.
I choose to release this tension.
I choose to release this tension.
And anxiety.
And anxiety.
Out of my body.
Out of my body.
And feel peace.
And feel peace.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Releasing this remaining shaking.
Releasing this remaining shaking.
Out of my hands.
Out of my hands.
Out of my body.
Out of my body.
I'm safe.
I'm safe.
I choose to feel peace.
I choose to feel peace.
As I release the remaining shaking.
As I release the remaining shaking.
Out of my hands.
Out of my hands.
Out of my body.
Out of my body.
I want to feel peace.
I want to feel peace.
I choose to feel peace.
I choose to feel peace.
As I release the remaining shaking.
As I release the remaining shaking.
And anxiety and fear.
And anxiety and fear.
Out of my body.
Out of my body.
Just like letting air out of a balloon.
Just like letting air out of a balloon.
Releasing it all.
Releasing it all.
Okay, so how does that feel now? It's come down, but what's it down to?
1.
So that's pretty good. So that's how we're just doing the generalizing of where they are right now. We haven't got into the making a movie technique or making a movie title. It's just addressing where they are right now. Okay, so right now you're feeling okay, and you've got this movie that we want to go to gently. Is it a couple of minutes long?
Yes.
Yep. And can you think of a title for the movie?
Being locked outside.
Okay, so let's just go there. When you think of the title of the movie, Being Locked Outside, what is it out of 10?
10.
And where are you feeling it in your body?
Down lower abdomen.
Okay. And what sort of feeling is it in the lower abdomen? Is it a churning, a stabbing?
It's really heavy.
A heavy, yep.
Heavy feeling. Yeah, I think heaviness.
Okay. Does it have a colour, that heaviness?
Black.
Black. So let's just tap for the title of the movie. All right. Even though I've got this 10 out of 10.
Even though I've got this 10 out of 10.
Black heavy feeling in my lower abdomen.
Black heavy feeling in my lower abdomen.
When I think about this movie.
When I think about this movie.
Being locked out of the house.
Being locked out of the house.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
I have this movie being locked out of the house.
I have this movie being locked out of the house.
And I feel it as a black heaviness in my lower abdomen.
And I feel it as a black heaviness in my lower abdomen.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And I'm willing to process and release this feeling.
And I'm willing to process and release this feeling.
When I think about this movie technique, when I think about this movie,
being
locked out of the house, and I feel it as this black heaviness in my lower abdomen,
and I feel it as black heaviness in my lower abdomen,
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And I want to process and release it.
And I want to process and release it.
This black heavy feeling.
This black heavy feeling.
I feel it in my lower abdomen.
I feel it in my lower abdomen.
Being locked out of the house.
Being locked out of the house.
This title of the movie.
This title of the movie.
Being locked out of the house.
Being locked out of the house.
I feel it as a black heaviness in my lower abdomen.
I feel it as a black heaviness in my lower abdomen.
Processing and releasing that feeling.
Processing and releasing that feeling.
When I think about the movie.
When I think about the movie.
Being locked out of the house.
Being locked out of the house.
So take a deep breath. So when you're just thinking of the movie title, Being Locked Out of the House, has that come down a little bit?
Come down to a 7.
A 7. And is it still a black heaviness in the lower abdomen?
Heaviness, but maybe I'd say it was brown.
Brown now? Okay. Even though I've got this brown heaviness,
when
I think about the movie Being Locked Out of the House,
when I think about the movie Being Locked Out of the House,
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Even though I've still got some remaining 7 out of 10.
Even though I've got some remaining 7 out of 10.
Brown heaviness in my lower abdomen.
Brown heaviness in my lower abdomen.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And my body.
And my body.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Even though I still have some remaining 7 out of 10 brown heaviness.
Even though I have some remaining 7 out of 10 brown heaviness.
In my lower abdomen.
In my lower abdomen.
When I think about the movie title Being Locked Out of the House.
When I think about the movie title Being Locked Out of the House.
I accept myself deeply and completely.
I accept myself deeply and completely.
And I'm letting my body know we can process this now.
And I'm letting my body know we can process this now.
And let it go.
And let it go.
This brown heaviness in my lower abdomen.
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 When I think about the movie title Being Locked Out of the House.
When I think about the movie title Being Locked Out of the House.
I choose to process and release it.
I choose to process and release it.
It doesn't belong trapped in my lower abdomen.
It doesn't belong trapped in my lower abdomen.
And I want to let it go.
And I want to let it go.
So I let my body know.
So I let my body know.
I can process and release it.
I can process and release it.
Releasing this brown heavy feeling.
Releasing this brown heavy feeling.
Out of my lower abdomen.
Out of my lower abdomen.
I choose to feel peace.
I choose to feel peace.
Take a deep breath. Did you want some water?
I'm okay.
So when you think about just the movie title, Being Locked Out of the House, how's that feeling now, out of 10, and where is it in your body?
It actually feels outside my body now. Doesn't, the heaviness in my abdomen is gone. I'm just left with a bit of, just feel a bit shaky.
A bit apprehensive maybe, a bit shaky, yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so if we start, are you happy now to then go on to just the start of the movie? Does that come down enough?
Yeah.
So I want you to find a neutral place before the movie starts, and you can do it as in your mind and not tell us much about it, or you can tell us about it, whichever way you want. So you've got a neutral place just before this happens, right? Do you want to tell us where it is, or do you just want to hold that in your mind?
I suppose I can talk about it.
Tap, what are you doing? Yep.
Inside the house, and I have a migraine with my ex-husband and my 2 youngest children.
Okay, so when you say that, is there any energy, emotional energy in that?
Not at the moment.
Okay. And as you go to the next part in the movie, where the crescendo starts coming up, what happens next?
I wanted him to look up mind the children while I had to lie down because I had a migraine.
Okay.
And he didn't want to.
And where do you feel that in your body?
Well, I feel anger come up, and it's rising up, coming up into my chest probably.
And how did he know that he didn't want to? What did he say specifically?
He said, "No, I'm tired. I want to lie down too."
Okay. And do you remember seeing the look on his face and hearing the tone of those words? No, I want to lie down. I'm tired too.
I don't know if I can remember seeing the look on his face. Actually.
Okay, so it's more hearing those words?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're just feeling the anger rising up?
Yeah.
Okay. So even technical difficulties. Even though I remember this anger rising up in my body.
This anger rising up in my body.
When I remember asking my ex-husband.
And I remember asking my ex-husband
to mind the kids because I had a migraine.
To mind the kids because I had a migraine.
And I wanted to lie down.
And I wanted to lie down.
And he said no.
And he said no.
I want to have a lie down too.
I want to have a lie down too.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I let my body know.
I let my body know.
This anger doesn't belong trapped in my body.
This anger doesn't belong trapped in my body.
And I want to release and let it go.
And I want to release and let it go.
I accept myself deeply and completely.
I accept myself deeply and completely.
This anger rising up in my body.
This anger rising up in my body.
When I remember hearing his words.
When I remember hearing his words.
No, I can't look after the kids.
No, I can't look after the kids.
I'm tired too.
I'm tired too.
I want to lie down.
I want to lie down.
Releasing this anger rising up in my body.
Releasing this anger rising up in my body.
When I hear the tone of his voice.
When I hear the tone of his voice.
And I hear those words.
And I hear those words.
No, I can't look after the kids.
No, I can't look after the kids.
I'm tired too.
I'm tired too.
I want to lay down.
I want to lay down.
Feeling that anger rising up in my body.
Feeling the anger rising up in my body.
And allowing it to release.
And allowing it to release.
Just like letting air out of a balloon.
Just like letting air out of a balloon.
I let that anger out of my body.
I let that anger out of my body.
It wants to rise all the way up and out.
It wants to rise all the way up and out.
And I'm allowing it.
And I'm allowing it.
That anger doesn't even belong to me.
That anger doesn't even belong to me.
I'm releasing it and letting it go.
I'm releasing it and letting it go.
I choose to have peace.
I choose to have peace.
Even when I remember him saying,
Even when I remember him saying,
so say it out loud, what he said.
No, I don't want to look after the kids. I'm tired too when I lie down.
Mm-hmm. So how's that feeling when you remember him saying that now?
That's really weird. The anger came up really fast. I wanted to scream. And then it just passed through, and now I just feel like smiling about it.
Could see that change in her as the energy shifted. I love
It's
this.
kind of bizarre.
Yeah, weird, bizarre, wow. Those words come up a lot. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. You're in the lounge room with your ex-husband and the kids, and then you ask him to mind the kids so that you can lay down because you've got a migraine, and he says no, I can't look at the kids, I'm tired too and I want to have a lie down. That's still feeling all okay? So what happens next?
I think it's hard to remember the whole story, but I think I got angry, and then he locked me out of the house.
Okay. So where's the next crescendo? Is it being locked out of the house? Is that the part that you remember?
Yep.
So what's that feel like in your body now when you remember being locked out of the house?
I'm powerless, helpless.
And do you feel that specifically in any part of your body?
Yeah, my whole body just goes weak.
Okay.
Strains out.
Even though I remember
Even though I remember
being locked out of the house,
being locked out of the house.
he locked me out of the house.
He locked me out of the house.
And I can feel that powerless feeling in my whole body.
I can feel that powerless feeling in my whole body.
I accept myself
I accept myself
and my body,
and my body,
and I choose to release this feeling.
and I choose to release this feeling.
I was locked out of the house.
I was locked out of the house.
He locked me 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 out of the house.
I felt so powerless.
I felt so powerless.
I felt it in my whole body.
I felt it in my whole body.
I felt a weakness in my body.
I felt a weakness in my body.
I was powerless.
I was powerless.
He locked me out of the house.
He locked me out of the house.
And I've got that powerless feeling in my body.
And I've got that powerless feeling in my body.
And I don't want to keep it trapped in my body.
And I don't want to keep it trapped in my body.
It doesn't even belong to me.
It doesn't even belong to me.
I choose to release it and let it go.
I choose to release it and let it go.
Just like smoke going up a fireplace.
Just like smoke going up a fireplace.
When you open the flue,
When you open the flue,
it wants to leave naturally and easily.
it wants to leave naturally and easily.
Just like I let my powerlessness leave naturally and easily.
Just like I let my powerlessness leave naturally and easily.
While I'm locked outside of the house,
While I'm locked outside the house,
He locked me out of the house.
He locked me out of the house.
And I choose to release my powerlessness.
And I choose to release my powerlessness.
And give myself power.
And give myself power.
What colour would that power be that you want to give yourself?
Purple.
That sort of a purple or that sort of a purple? The energy of forgiveness.
Interesting.
Alright, so breathe in that energy of purple that allows you to have power while you're standing outside the house. He locked me outside of the house.
He locked me outside the house.
And I choose to have power.
And I choose to have power.
As I release any remaining powerlessness.
As I choose to release any remaining powerlessness.
He locked me out of the house.
He locked me out of the house.
And I choose to have power.
And I choose to have power.
As I release all my remaining powerlessness.
As I release all my remaining powerlessness.
And breathe in that purple power.
And breathe in that purple power.
I choose to have power.
I choose to have power.
Even when he locked me out of the house.
Even when he locked me out of the house.
Releasing any remaining powerless, weak feeling out of my body.
Releasing any remaining
powerless, weak feeling
out of my body.
I choose to have power.
I choose to have power.
I choose to feel that in my body.
I choose to feel that in my body.
Take a deep breath. How does that feel now when you see yourself locked out of the house? He locked you out of the house. How does that feel?
I don't feel it in my body anymore. It's out of there. And once again, that was like a fast process because it came up.
It comes up really quick, like a wave, doesn't it? And then it just.
I had a really strong wave of nausea, and I felt like I was actually, well, not actually vomit, but strong nausea. But then I just kept tapping that passed through really quickly. Interesting too that purple was forgiveness.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I said it out loud lots of times that I forgive my husband.
Yeah, but the actual physical energy of it is different, isn't it? So energetically, when you go back now to the beginning, the movie, he locked me out of the house. You're in the lounge room and you ask your ex-husband, can you please look after the kids? I want to have a lie down. I've got a migraine. He said, no, I'm tired too. I want to lay down myself. And the next thing you know, you've got all that anger rising up and you're being locked out of the house. How does that feel? Can you see there's just nothing coming up in her energetically? How's that feel?
Yeah, it just feels like a story.
Yeah. Pretty good, isn't it? So see how I was retelling the story? You can get them to retell the story as well. Was there any more detail that came up in that? Did you remember more after you said, he said he couldn't look after the kids and you felt the anger coming up? You said you couldn't remember much between there and then suddenly you were locked out of the house. Is there any more detail come up?
There was only just my son was crying.
So when you say that now and you remember seeing your son crying and hearing him crying, does anything else come up with that?
Some sadness comes up.
Yeah, so let's do that. So see how I'm really testing to make sure that we're getting every little bit, every little aspect. Okay. So I remember seeing and hearing my son crying.
I remember seeing and hearing my son crying.
And I can feel that sadness in my body.
And I can feel that sadness in my body.
And even though I have some sadness trapped in my body,
and even though I have some sadness trapped in my body,
I choose to process it and release it.
I choose to process it and release it.
I accept myself deeply and completely.
I accept myself deeply and completely.
My son was crying.
My son was crying.
I can see him and hear him.
I can see him and hear him.
I feel sadness in my body.
I feel sadness in my body.
And I choose to release that too.
And I choose to release that too.
Processing and letting it go.
Processing and letting it go.
Releasing that sadness.
Releasing that sadness.
Out of my body.
Out of my body.
Releasing the sadness.
Releasing the sadness.
What does the sadness feel like as it's leaving the body? Where's it coming from and leaving? Or is it gone already?
It's funny, it's in the pelvic region.
Okay. Releasing that sadness.
Releasing that sadness.
Out of my pelvic region.
Out of my pelvic region.
Releasing the sadness.
Releasing the sadness.
And I remember looking at my son.
I remember looking at my son.
And seeing him crying.
And seeing him crying.
And hearing him crying.
And hearing him crying.
Releasing the sadness.
Releasing the sadness.
Out of my pelvic region.
Out of my pelvic region.
Releasing the sadness.
Releasing the sadness.
It doesn't belong trapped there.
Doesn't belong trapped there.
And I want to release it.
And I want to release it.
And I choose to release it.
And I choose to release it.
Is there a colour that will help to release that sadness?
Orange just popped into my head.
Which is about courage and releasing fear. So breathe that in. I choose to breathe in that beautiful orange courage.
I choose to breathe in that beautiful orange courage.
Into my body and my energy.
Into my body and my energy.
Releasing any remaining sadness.
Releasing any remaining sadness.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
And I remember seeing my son crying.
And I remember seeing my son crying.
Hearing him crying.
Hearing him crying.
I released the sadness.
I release the sadness.
And accept the orange energy.
And accept the orange energy.
And send it to him as well.
And send it to him as well.
Dissolving his sadness.
Dissolving his sadness.
As I dissolve mine.
As I dissolve mine.
Dissolving our sadness.
Dissolving our sadness.
So has the sadness gone?
Yeah.
When you see him crying and hear him crying?
Yeah.
That's gone?
Yeah.
Checking into your pelvis, it's not there now?
No.
And when you look at him now, does he feel better as well?
Yeah, he does.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you can use energy, this is more quantum EFT, but it's using that energy and sending it from your heart to theirs. You completing everyone in the picture and helping them and releasing their energy as well that's trapped with them. So it was a little bit more than the movie technique, but I can't help myself, sorry. So did you feel the energy of the colour, of the vibration of the colours? Has that happened too?
Yes, and the smell, actually, the smell
Yeah.
was really powerful for me.
It is, isn't it?
Mm.
Mm.
I'm a smell olfactory person.
Yeah, but the smell goes directly to the primitive brain too. So when you ask the body, what does the body need to dissolve that, and the body says a colour, and it's not coming from consciousness, is it?
No,
It just comes.
up.
Yeah, and you give the body then that colour, it just dissolves it.
Mm.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? So when you think of that whole movie that you were so worried about, it was quite gentle going through that, wasn't it?
It was. I was
And
really
you get that
surprised.
wave, and then it goes.
Mm.
And it's you had that experience yesterday. The wave comes and then it goes.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's once you've experienced it too, you can really let clients know that it is quite a gentle process. That we're never going to be just dropping you right in the middle of it and re-exposing you, re-traumatizing you.
Mm. Yeah, it's more the thought of it when you start doing it. You just go, oh no,
Yeah,
it's going to be really scary, and
I'm going to be a
hysterical.
blubbering mess.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But the way it's broken down and each aspect is looked at bit by bit. It's very gentle and it cleans up the whole thing. So do you want to tell me the story from start to finish? Just notice. Tap on the cradle chop point while you do, and just notice if it goes up at all anywhere.
Okay. I had a migraine, and I wanted to ask my husband to mind the 2 younger children so I could lay down. And he said, no, I'm tired, I don't want to. And then we had an argument because I said to him, look, I'm really sick. But I couldn't argue that much because my head was hurting so much. And then he got angry really quickly and locked me out of the house. And then my third son was crying, and I was, I felt really powerless. So I thought, well, there's no point in arguing with him anymore and just upset my children.
Mm-hmm.
So I just let him calm down, and then, he can look after the children because then he has to.
Mm-hmm. So when you go through all of that, is anything else coming up?
No.
Mm-hmm. Good. So you can see there's a lot more detail when you get them to tell the whole story all the way through, and just noticing if anything's coming up as they're speaking, because you'll see it in